The chemical industry's growth figures are estimated at $224 billion by 2017. Are we in the right policy roadmap?
I think the policy roadmap is evolving. I think the chemical policy is in the making, and I think we will get there, in my opinion. And the roadmap of the policy has to be more holistic, not just manufacturing, but the entire supply chain and the safe transportations of the product and services, have the environmental licenses, clear policies put in place and stuff. So I think it has to be more holistic, and that's what the chemical policy is being drafted today as we speak.
So, how do you think the drafting of the policy would change the future of chemical industry?
I think it will bring clarity, bring transparency in our approach, and the policy is being very holistic right now, where all the industry associations been pulled in to make the comments, so that it's just not government putting policy, but what is more practical from an industry standpoint as well as from sustainability of the environmental standpoint.
So, if you can elaborate a little bit more on what is practical.
When you talk about practical in terms of, the whole implementation process of that has to be there. You pick the standards which are global standards, which has to be implemented and monitored. I think implementation of the policy is where it sometimes fails. And I think that's where it has to be, that how are you going to measure this? Can we have a self-monitoring system put in place? And those are the practical aspects which industry will have to think it through.
So, do you think the Make in India campaign makes something to the chemical industry?
Oh, absolutely. I think one of the areas where our industry has been focused on is specialty chemicals. When you talk about Make in India, you also need to understand what is our own competitiveness in the country, what makes sense for India to create that competitive advantage against the globe. You can't make in India just for the sake of making in India at a high cost. In today's global world, that's not going to happen. In specialty chemical area, India really has a competitive advantage where we can make the differentiation across the globe. And I think those campaigns will help our industry. And when you talk about specialty chemical, that's where the job creation happens. It's a primary industry, which is a large-scale industry. That's not too many jobs which gets created. But it's the downstream industry where we talk about creating different products, which creates a lot more jobs in the country as well.
So, how do you think, what is Dow Chemical's role in the future roadmap of the industry?
I think one of the critical role we are bringing into the country is really our process know-how, our technology know-how, our application know-how, as well as our know-how and the sustainability and environment. And that's what we bring through our industry association. We actively participate in making the right standards to be put in place. The whole management of hazardous chemicals in terms of how we do it, because we have global expertise which we bring to the table in the country.
So there has been a big disadvantage behind the name of your industry. So how do you think you have coped up with the challenges over time, and where do you see you heading in the next 5 years down the line?
I think one of the things, it's the misconception of chemical industry has been there, which is what you talk about. People don't associate themselves as pharma industry is good and chemical industry is bad. How does the pharma drugs get made? Everything you do, breathe today is our industry. I think our industry hasn't done a good job on communicating the benefit we bring to the society on a day-to-day basis. And CII Chemical Committee right now actually is looking at putting that campaign out over the next 2 to 3 years in terms of how we can improve the image, how we can communicate to the common person on the street that how we making changes in their daily lives which makes their lives better.
Sure. Thank you so much for sharing your views.
Thank you.